Welcome back to another episode of Skid's Garage, and today we're going to be working on the Escort. We're going to chuck a coat of polish on it and see if I can bring some more shine out in this paint. Also, we'll get stuck into the interior and see if we can get that tidied up a bit too. So, let's get stuck into it. As you can see, it is filthy and it absolutely stinks. That's all pigeon shit down there and all sorts of other nasties. You can see everything's just dirty, as you'd expect. Bloody sitting in a pigeon infested shed for all these years. But I have been driving it around and it's just not pleasant when you're driving in something that is smells as bad as it does. So I'm going to get stuck into giving this a quick once over, a vacuum, just wipe over the surfaces and stuff, and hopefully it'll just make it that little bit nicer to drive. So I'm going to get stuck into that. So while vacuuming, I accidentally vacuumed up that little chrome piece on this side, on this button, and to retrieve it I had to go through the process of actually trying to pull everything out of the bag, and there she is. What a pain in the ass. But I'll chuck that back on, throw this all in the bin, and get back into vacuuming. So this is what it looks like now with a quick vacuum. Significantly better. Needs like a proper go over, but this is just a quick once over with the vacuum cleaner. I'm not consumed by pigeon shit anymore, well, at least in the front. Still yet to do the back, and then come over and wipe over the surfaces because they need a good once over as well. In regards to the condition of the interior, seats, pretty much perfect. Carpet, it's been getting some, the heater bubble is obviously leaking water, which is a common fault in these. It's a common spot for these to rust. So that'll need investigating. I remember back many moons ago when I was on my P's driving this around, I did a attempt to do some repairs. So it'll be interesting to look back at those repairs and see how dodgy they are, or even how well they held up. Well, they obviously haven't because water's leaking through. And under here, as you can see, the carpet's just deteriorating. Underneath it's good. Doesn't look to be any rust or anything in the floors yet, which is good. Hopefully I can avoid that. But the carpet's pretty knackered. It's getting, well, you can see where the water's been leaking through. And then the passenger seat is essentially mint. So that's the interior. I've got the piece to go on there. It's that come off whilst it was in storage. Steering wheel, I reckon's got it's hard to see, but it's got a stitched on leather protector thing. If I remember correctly, that needs to be taken off. I need new seat covers because this is what I put on when I first bought the car, and yeah, they're not great looking. I want something that better suits the car, so I'll hunt around and see what I can find for them. And in the back, want to get started on vacuuming them. So give the back a good vacuum. Significantly better than what the front was, so it shouldn't be too hard. So I'm going to get stuck into doing the back now. And this is the back, all vacuumed up. Whoops, I missed a part there. I'll get to that shortly. But as you can see, it's significantly better. Doesn't stink nowhere near as much in here. I still yet to apply interior cleaner on everything, and I might even put some carpet cleaner and stuff on. Get some nice smells soaking into the carpets, so the back's not too bad in regards to damage. This side needs a good once over. That's all just muck, so it doesn't look damaged as such. So it just needs a good solid clean. Seats, I can't get the actual seat covers off without actually like removing them completely, and I'm not ready to do that yet. But if I recall rightly, they're in just as good a condition as the fronts. So now it's time to slap on some interior cleaner. See what this interior looks like all shined up. So let's do that. So now the inside's all vacuumed, I'm going to get into vacuuming the boot. Been a long time since this has been vacuumed. Look at all that. We'll see how much rust is hidden away under here. Hopefully not much. Hopefully it looks worse than what it actually is. See what's hidden under this tyre. But yeah, we'll get stuck into vacuuming this boot up now. So that's the boot vacuumed out. So let's inspect the damage. There's a little bit of sunlight coming through. A little bit of sunlight coming through there. So there is rust. And a little bit there. A little bit there. In fact, I'm not sure if they're... Yeah, they're rust. That's not looking to be in the greatest condition. So I'll have to come in, give this a good clean, prep it to prevent any further rust, and then just give it a quick slap of paint. Not worried about the boot looking like show worthy. Well, the whole car is not going to look show worthy. I'm just trying to preserve it, enjoy it, and prevent having it sit in the shed for the next million years. So I've still got the original rubber mat, which is in really good nick. So that's sitting down on here for so long has caused a bit of surface rust and stuff. That'll come up alright. Little bit of sunlight coming through the side there. Otherwise not too bad. Nothing shocking. Nothing that I'll go, oh shit, don't know how I'm going to go about fixing it. So yeah, overall not bad. Got to wipe it over the surface now. It's been vacuumed, but this is my rubber mat. It's in good nick. Small tear there. As I was vacuuming it, notice there was a small tear there, another small there, and there. It's only small tears, and another small one up here. So small tears. I'll try to be gentle with it. Maybe put some, see if there's anything I can put on it to sort of soften it up a little bit, because it's cool to see that it's still got this in good nick. So that's the boot clean. That's as much effort I'm going to put into the boot anyway, because I'm not overly phased on how the boot looks at the moment. It's least of my priorities at the moment. That's, if you can see in there, it looks a lot worse than what it is. I need to come in here and tidy up the surfaces a bit to prevent any further rust. Down here, it's the same deal. It's pretty dark. It's getting late in the night. Trying to make the most of any free time I've got. Looking after a 3.5-year-old and a newborn. It's not easy to find some free time, so late nights it is, on top of sleepless nights with a newborn, but gotta do what you gotta do. So that's the boot. I'll chuck the rubber mat and the carpet back in, and I'll call the boot done. From a previous video, you saw me do this roof. So that's all tidied up with a coat of cut and polish on it. Nothing overly too fancy, but looking significantly better, and hopefully at least a little bit of protection on it. And then I ran over the rest of the car with Gumption, so you can see all that surface rust has come off the car. And I've noticed, because I've only put Gumption on it and no polish, a little bits of surface rust is now coming back through the paint. So I'm going to try to tidy the surface rust that's coming back through up again, and then chuck a coat of polish on it. I've already done the driver's side as a practice run, so that's the end result I'm looking for. Even tidied this up, so if you remember how bad that was, that's how it looks now. So with any luck, we can get the rest of the car looking this nice. So with just the Gumption, you can see, oh, that's bits of polish and stuff, but just give it a see. Things like that are sticking to the paint. So with a bit of polish, that stuff shouldn't stick onto the paint anymore. So I'll give this bonnet another clean, and then I'll chuck some polish on it, chuck it on time lapse, show you, and then once that bonnet's looking minty clean, I'll move on to the rest of the body. So let's get stuck into that. So this is the side I've done, and I'm purely putting polish on it just to protect what I've got, but it really hasn't come up as well as what the other side of the car has. This is the other side, and you can see, like here, this is the kind of stuff I'm trying to prevent from happening. is that stuff there, because after I did gumption on it, I didn't polish it, and then all that surface rust came back through. So I'll get stuck on the other side of the bonnet and see if I can get the paint showing a little bit nicer. Okay, so since I've done that coat of polish, you can see all this staining and stuff that's on the bonnet. I've already given it a scrub over here with Gumption, and the staining goes away. So I'm going to have to give this bonnet another once over with the Gumption followed by polish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And there we go. That's after the Gumption's been applied. That is looking significantly better. I reckon what all that was, well, you can see obviously the paint's not perfect, but I can't get that off with Gumption. I think that's where you need to get stuck into with just a sand. You can see that up on the roof too. So that's a step further than what I'm wanting to do at the moment, but all those removable stains are gone. If you can see from this angle, you could see all those stains. I reckon what it was I was using the bonnet as a workbench when I was doing this side of the car with all the dirty sponges and cloths and everything, and they just put dirty little stains on the bonnet that just needed to be gumptioned out. So this is what I'm using, just some Gumption. It's abrasive on the paint, so you got to be careful using it, but when your paint's in the condition mine is and you're having trouble getting it to a reasonable standard, hit it up with some Gumption. It works well. So now it's obviously unprotected, and to prevent it from getting bad again, I now chuck some polish on it. So I'm going to go ahead and reapply the polish in the same procedure as I did before, only this time it's clean. So I'm going to get stuck into that. So that's both sides of the bonnet done now, and unfortunately that's the best I'll get. You can see, you can kind of see if you get the right angle right there, it's got that horrible stain on it. You can see that all over the bonnet, all over the roof. Don't know exactly what it was that caused that, but sitting in a shed for 12 years, having pigeon shit on it, and not being looked after, washed or anything in that time, just kind of sat there and was forgotten about. I assume that's probably what has caused the damage to the paint. So, but I'm going to live with it for the meantime. That's good enough. I'm going to move on to the rest of the body. I thought I'd give you a break of that time lapse and just give you a show of what I've actually done so far. So you can see it's not perfect. It's a rush job. I can't get into little spots like that. But overall, it's looking better. There's damage done on the paint due to the pigeon shit and various other bits of damage on the paint, but it should hold up from becoming any more damaged. I would have really liked to go over this again with some Gumption, but every time I go over with Gumption, it just does that little bit more damage to the paint, and I'm trying to prevent that. So I've just done a rush job with a cut and polish with the machine. And then I've just chucked on some wax. So that's how it's come up. Obviously, I've got to come back, fix up things like this. Just little bits of rust coming through. Having trouble getting that surface rust off. Again, I would have loved to come over with a Gumption, but I don't want to damage the paint too much. So they're things I'll come back and tackle later. So now I just got to go tackle this half.